from the ceiling while you were sleeping. It came creeping then from above. Like a shadow upon your chest, breathing shallow.
A group of us decided to come here in '96. We had been climbing at Waco Tanks. It was myself and Fred and another American friend, Todd Skinner. And Todd had been here in about '93. He came to South Africa to climb. And the locals were showing him around to all the climbing areas. They weren't looking for bouldering at the time, they were taking him climbing. And he kept driving past all these boulders, and he kept, screaming at the South Africans to stop the car. He'd run out and he'd touch the boulders, and he was like, "Oh my God, these are amazing!" And the South Africans at that point weren't thinking about bouldering at all. They were only thinking roots. And they'd say, "Get in the car, come on." They'd stop looking at these boulders. And Todd was like, "Yeah, but look at these things."
You feel like, like a baby and so much rock. You drive through. Let's go out of the car and let it see, because I never saw a place like this with so much rock. And it's like Christmas and Easter together. So it's a present.
After Todd saw the potential and he went back to America, having not climbed a single boulder in all of the Cedarburg area. And so we were sitting at Waco talking, and Fred and I were marveling at the potential that was still in Waco Tanks in Texas. And Todd just kind of quietly shook his head and said, "No, I've seen the place that has potential." He says it's huge, and he convinced us on the spot that we should all, get a trip together to South Africa. As time went along, Todd became more and more nervous. There's about 10 of us he'd convinced to go there, and he was beginning to doubt what he had actually seen, that there was as much rock as he envisioned and what he believed. And but the first night we drove in, it was sort of sunset, and the car lights were lighting up some of the rocks just on the side of the road, and we were like, "Oh my God, look at this stuff." And when dawn came in the morning, we got up, and from the campground, what you see at the campground is just staggering, the colors and the formations. And we knew right then and there that this place was like magical and huge.
The rock in Rocklands is sandstone, and with all the erosion, it's led to some unique and amazing shapes.
Since 10 years, something like that, there is a real boom in bouldering, and many people who start first climbing are going in bouldering. Normally climbers are a population, I can't speak for everybody, but there are people who respect nature, and I don't think the climbing population is a big risk for a nature area like this one.
The main difference between bouldering and sport climbing, obviously with sport climbing, you're climbing sort of routes maybe 50 meters high. With bouldering, you're just climbing on these little boulders. So therefore you don't really need the equipment that sport climbing needs. You don't need harnesses or ropes or carabiners. Because you don't have that equipment, there's nothing, no extra weight in you, nothing holding you down. You're a lot freer to just move on the rock and freer to try harder moves. And with bouldering, generally, you're doing a lot harder moves than you would be able to do on sport climbing.
Come on, go. There's first kind of a visual attraction to any problem, be it a new problem or even something that's been established already. I'm very visual as far as my climbing, and when I see something that I'm really drawn to and really pulls me towards it, then I'm motivated. And then really you have to start unlocking the puzzle. Every problem it's a puzzle, and you have to figure out what works for your own body. Everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses, and sometimes there's one sequence to do a problem, sometimes there's multiple sequences, and you have to kind of first look at it and figure out what works in your own mind, and then try that, get on the rock and see what works.
First you look at the line. It's a fascination first. The shape of the rock must be interesting. Your interest is you look at the route like in the mountain. You have different face, and on a small boulder it's the same approach. You just look at the possible route, possible problem, and you try to read it, to understand it, find the best move, and it's really interesting.
In an ideal world, the best climber, there is no best climber. People like to say who's the best and whatever, but there truly is no best climber. There's so many different styles of climbing, and it's impossible to pigeonhole that. What makes a good climber is the ability to do all styles, any style that you're presented with, whether it's a slab, a vertical wall, an overhanging cave, crimps, pinches, all these things you have to have in your repertoire to be able to do the task.
It's hard to say. It's good to have good power in the finger, in the arm. But it's more complex. You need to move to be smooth, to understand the movement. Not just be strong, but you need to be really technical, fast sometimes for some jump, dyno. And I think the best is moving in climbing.
With climbing, it's a personal challenge, and you're always trying to just challenge yourself. So once you've done a certain grade or a certain difficulty or problem, you always want to do harder. What I've learned now is just how possible it is to actually do things that you didn't think you could do. You just keep on trying.
The spotter is just standing behind you and takes care if you fall. So you can really do moves on your personal limit and don't think about how I fall down.
Anytime you're grabbing a small hold anywhere, it's going to ruin your skin.
If it would be possible, we would go climbing every day, I think. But the skin and the muscles are getting sore, and so it's just, if doing nothing, it's recovering is really good.
Rest days here will force one into a coma rather quickly. What we typically do on a rest day is go explore for more boulders. We're fairly focused on what we do. A rest day means walking 4 hours through the desert around boulders, going and looking for new things. Rarely we'll take a rest day and go to Nancy's tea house and drink coffee and tea and eat scones and cakes and stuff like that. But Clanwilliam is the cultural hub of South Africa, as near as I can tell. Anything that's happening in this country is happening in Clanwilliam. And the shopping is endless.
You guys like this spot?
Yeah, sure, it's great.
Yeah, there's no other place in town I'd shop.
Yeah?
Really? Oh no, wait, there is no other place in town to shop.
It's better to think about boulders than how to keep tiny or skinny.
All top climbers really watch their diet. It involves a lot of coffee. Caffeine's really important. So is beer and schnapps at the end of the day. That's fairly key.
It's cheap, but it's full of minerals.
Hey, go away.
And anything sweet in between.
I eat nearly anything. I'm really onto cakes. A lot of cake. There's no cake here. Milk tart, brandy tart.
I have no idea why I'm diabetic.
Large steaks help as well.
One per person.
If you're really out every day and you burn a lot of you don't have to think about a diet, I think. We are all waiting for cold weather. Like the other day we were out, it's windy and cold, it's perfect for bouldering. Like today it's nice bouldering, but you can't do really hard boulders. Your skin is sweating and the skin is getting really soft if it's too warm, and if it's cold it's really nice. You can crimp nearly everything.
Rocklands, it's better. I think it's a better place in the world at this moment for bouldering. I have climbed in Australia and United States, and Rocklands it's better. And in Rocklands there is Justin Hawking. Hey, it's a fucking legend now.
What was the question? When I'm trying a hard problem, I'm sort of approaching it with an open mind. I mean, even though I might not be able to move on it, you got to think that there's a possibility somewhere and just keep trying, and then eventually, hopefully, you do it.
First, I was really static, really slow climber. There are climber much faster, and I had to learn that and technique to know after so many years of practice. I think I still have some low point, weak point, but I am interested to be as polyvalent as possible. Yeah. That my repertoire of moves and so on.
I was actually fairly astounded at what Fred could do when I first met him, because he was completely unheard of, but he is by far the strongest person I'd ever seen on rock.
Scott should be a stand-up comedian or something.
Can I have a pink wiener, please? There, good.
I have done competitions. When I first started climbing, it was kind of what you did as a climber to kind of prove your mettle. So I did the World Cups, I traveled to Europe and I did them, but I competed really poorly. I climbed much better on rock. I never climbed on artificial walls. And then when I was forced to climb in front of a crowd in a big stadium with a spotlight on me, it was just not my thing, and I just didn't enjoy it. So I kind of made the decision that no more, and then I just concentrated on being outside and climbing for myself.
3 years I didn't go to competitions. So I may have my competition out there with myself. You do hard moves on routes, but on bouldering you can make such crazy things.
What is one of the most interesting process is really to understand it like a partition in music. You have a musician need to read it, and it's a partition written by the nature, and it's really interesting to go in this dimension and learn to read the rock and understand it. And at the same time, you have to be part of the place where you find the boulder. It's a great kind of communion.
Well, Nutsa is kind of the sit-down start to what was originally called Sunset Arete. Sunset Arete was a stand-up that started out there, and the sit-down was always sitting here waiting to be done. and Fred did it a couple of years ago. But it's always been one that's been burning in my mind, like ever since we left the first trip, one that I wanted to do. So when I came here, it was one of my main things. And it's really intricate. There's a lot of body tension. The holds aren't great. You're squeezing the arete the whole way, so you have to maintain all this tension. You're grabbing some small two-finger crimps and sharp things, and at one point your head's actually lower than your feet, and there's all these weird vectors that are going on. But it's one of the greatest routes I've ever done.
That's good.
Ow.
That was nice.
The first hard part is the undercling move. Getting your left hand into undercling and then getting your feet up and doing a throw. And then the second hard part is basically once you get to the lip, you have to pull around it, and the only way you can do that is through a blind heel hook. So you've got to like throw your legs around and you can't see, and you have to have your spotter saying to you like left, 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 right, right, right. And then once you've sort of got the heel hook, you basically just do this swing out and with all your weight on that foot, and you hope your foot holds, and then pull through.
The name of this boulder is Madiba, just because the day when I did the first ascent, it was Nelson Mandela's birthday. So in honor of this great person, I give it this name. So. It's really hard. It's really hard. It's long roof climbing. It's something like 10 move. It's resistant, powerful technique. It needs some good condition. One swing is really, but it's a great climb. It's a great roof climbing.
Yeah, for me, I'm really fascinated by things I can't do at the beginning, which really looks impossible, but with a lot of trying or training, sometimes you can do one move and the next move, and yeah, for me, it's the powerful aspect of this climbing. climb is oral office. What it means, I don't know exactly what it means. I can imagine. The trick is, yeah, the jump, that you get it in your head that the second hand should follow the first one. It's for bigger people, maybe they jump up and go to with one hand, but for my size it's better to make it as a double dyno and to have to get fast in your head.
Isola fui lo for the biscuit.